जय राम राम श्लोक की पावन महाराज जय जय Lord Krishna Maharaj ki jai. Tanda Pranam Maharaj, muy buenos días. Dandavad.
Buenos días. Good morning to, well, it's not morning in India and all these other places, so I can say, Dandavad to everyone. Ashramar, Dandavad Pranam. Shantamara, Dandavad. Dandavad, Shanta Maharaj, Dandavad, Dandavad, all devotees. So,
Programa Maharaj.
Dhanyavad.
Maharaj, Dhanyavad Kusura Maharaj, Maharaj.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.
Recording in progress.
Dhanyavad. So, do we have someone who's doing the translation into Spanish while we're speaking in English?
Sí, Praneshwari está ahí. Praneshwari ahí.
No, Maharaj, todavía no ha ingresado Praneshwari ni Lakshmikanti. Podemos hacer una traducción nosotros en el chat mientras ingresaban ellas, Maharaj.
Okay, well, myself and Ashramars, we can also speak mostly in English, and we can also say something in Spanish if to get some point across.
He translate, but I don't know how good is the sound, my sound, I don't know how good.
Well, right now it sounds good, but is this a Wi-Fi connection or?
Data.
And where are you?
Tikul.
Oh, you're in Tikul. Well,
Maharaj, también nos acompaña Sadhu Maharaj desde India y Ayurveda Maharaj.
Sadhu Maharaj, Dhanyavad, Paridrayaka Maharaj,
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad para todos los devotos.
Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad Malati, Jananda. And also Triveni, Dhanyavad, Ravindra Krishna Prabhu, Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad, Maharaj, Dhanyavad, Maharaj, Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad, Ravindra Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Santa Maharaj, Dhanyavad, Maharaj, Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad,
Dhanyavad. So I was I'm offering my dandavas to all of you. So many of you are my friends and associates, and if I say everyone's name, then we will not be able to finish the actual Zoom meeting. And many persons coming, and in all the temples, all places of the world, there, the devotees serving the best they can. Now their beloved Guru Srila Acharya Maharaj no longer physically present, although still he is with us, but the devotees are going on with their service, and that nothing left to do by us, that we must continue with the mission of Srila Acharya Maharaj, the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. That really we consider this is the true mission of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. He established Acharya Maharaj as his successor, and now with the departure of Sri Guru, and we must continue, as Srila Govinda Maharaj always said, with the service to his devotees, to his mission, and to his deities, and that's what we're trying to do. And every one of you has some role to do in that. There's no other way of doing it. I mean, we're a society that consists of many hundreds of temples and ashrams and places, and everyone knows what is their own responsibility. The leaders know what they must do, and they've been doing it in the service of Acharya Mars for so many years, and now they have to continue with that same service to Acharya Mars and to the mission, and to the devotees. You know, so everything must go on in that way. Hay tantos devotos que no puedo saludar a todos. Todos ustedes son mis amigos y asociados y personas que conozco. Muchos de ustedes por muchos años que les conozco. Y estamos continuando con la misión de Srila Acharya Mars. Srila Govinda Mars dijo que tenemos que continuar con el servicio a su misión, a sus deidades y a los devotos. Y esta es nuestra responsabilidad. Y que, como entendemos, que aunque Acharya Mars se haya ido de este mundo, todavía continúa como el bien queriente y el gurú de todos. Entonces, continuamos así lo mejor que podemos. Ciertamente son los tiempos en que vivimos son muy difíciles por la situación mundial. Obviously, what we have to do is not an easy task because the situation all over the world is very difficult, and especially we can say in India, because we're always reading, hearing that India presents one of the greatest situations or problems in this world because the pandemic, the disease there is very strong, and there's 1.4 billion inhabitants of India. Even if you inoculated 3,000 people a day, I don't know how many years it would take you to inoculate most of the population. It's very much almost like a difficult task, and so many of us, persons from our temple who were some of the devotees, they'd lost their father, brother, and other persons in India, and they're devastated. Jai Ram here and his wife Abba lost her father, her brother. Her mother doesn't know that her husband and her son passed away. She herself had the virus, and she has not been informed yet. She just thinks they're in the hospital or something. I don't know if she actually knows. The situation is very difficult for all of them. They're obviously, their whole family here is very much affected. So that is the situation in India. We always see it we see it every day. Every day we see it in the news, that how difficult the situation is in India. And certainly it is not easy in our own countries. Well, like Colombia, and we saw in Ecuador, Uri March, now he's recovering. This is Lord's mercy that he's getting better, but still he's still affected. He still has headaches and many problems, although he's getting better. The same with Revati. So anyway, I want to remember how Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said, basically, he said, the news of this world, the news of this world is that if we just look at the news of this world, it's that somebody is dying all the time. Somebody is always being taken to the court of Yamaraj. That is the situation. It means the people in this world, that is the only expectation that they have is ultimately death. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, the news that if our receiver is properly adjusted, all the news that we receive will be good news. So in this situation, where when we're still so much affected by the passing away of Acharya Maharaj. Someone can say, how can we say that when we're properly adjusted, all the news will be good news? Because we're trying to live on this spiritual plane, the plane of devotion. And on that plane, we have so much good news. What will it matter to me about my own existence in this material world? Today or tomorrow, that's going to end. Anyway, but I'm daily trying to hear from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and that's very beautiful. Now we're reading from the Sikshastika, verses of the last chapter of the Antya Leela, and Mahaprabhu's expressions, very beautiful. So when I think about my whole life of service and relationship with the Acharyas, then I feel very wonderful that I have had that association. And you have also, all of you have that divine association. You're not ordinary persons. You're not living just in this mundane world. But the grace of Sri Guru and the grace of the spiritual world is descending to all of you. That plane of devotional service eternally exists. And by the association of Sri Guru, the association of the Vaishnavas, and the activities of devotional service, the good news of that plane is descending to you at every moment. So if we're able to concentrate on the good fortune that we have of knowing our Gurudev and knowing of devotional service, of being able to be with the devotees. You can say, oh, well, I cannot be with the devotees, I cannot travel. But you're with the devotees now. You look here, there's so many persons coming here to be able to receive news from us. And what we're trying to do, as we said, is we're trying to glorify Srila Acharya Maharaj. That seems, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said that my business is to glorify the Vaishnavas. And I feel that is my business. That is what I have to do. That is what I want to do. I want to glorify the Vaishnavas. That will make my life successful. That's what I'm trying to do. So, anyway, I ask for the help of all of you in serving our divine spiritual masters. Just as Acharya Maharaj untimely left this world, but all my spiritual masters have gone from this on one level, but they're still here, I say. But I've seen the disappearance of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who I was with for some years. 7-8 years I was only with him. And then Srila Guru Maharaj, and he was with the devotees after Srila Prabhupada. Then after his disappearance, a long time, many years we were with Srila Govinda Maharaj. And now Acharya Maharaj, but I knew him since when he first came into the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mud, and he gave life to Navadip. He did there what Srila Govinda Maharaj wanted. He served selflessly to the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mud. So now when I hear what Narottam Das Thakur says, that I've known so many of the Vaishnava saints, and they have gone, and on one level I can think, oh, here I am alone in this material world, or I'm even alone. That all the saintly Vaishnavas, so the Acharyas, so many have gone, and I am here. And Narottam Das Thakur expresses that in the song Jayani Lo Premadana. what is our feeling? We are feeling in the absence of the Vaishnavas that we're devastated. But everything is being done with the Lord above, and what is that saying? Lord above, and you can say, someone can tell me this. Ashramar. ¿Qué es el dicho? No sound.
¿Alguien puede decir el dicho? Maharaj estaba preguntando cuál es el dicho de con Dios, with the God above,
God above,
con Dios en nuestras cabezas, ¿sí?
A Dios orando y con el mazo dando Maharaj. Hay un dicho que dice así.
it's an English saying. Anyway, let Ashamar say something. He spoke a while in Spanish, and he can express the feelings of his heart. I mean, I spoke in English and want to communicate with everyone.
I can translate a little bit.
Okay.
Bueno, Maharaj está refiriéndose a todos los devotos de habla inglesa, a todos los devotos, ¿verdad? Pero lo está haciendo en el idioma inglés. Pero lo que está diciendo es muy apropiado, porque Maharaj comienza diciendo que ahora nos encontramos, ¿verdad?, en esta dificultad, en este difícil momento, cuando Sri Guru ha partido de este mundo. Pero nosotros debemos de recordar siempre, ellos no nos han dejado solos, que han dado, ¿verdad?, su misión, sus devotos y sus deidades. Y Sri Govinda Maharaj siempre insistió mucho en esto, que debemos, ahora que no están ellos aquí, ocuparnos en estos asuntos, cómo servimos a su misión, a sus devotos de las deidades. Todos ustedes tienen que participar en este propósito, para este propósito, ¿verdad? Todos los devotos pueden participar, los líderes de las comunidades, todos pueden participar. ¿Qué se debe hacer para mantener esta misión, ¿verdad?, unida, para mantenerlos a ellos en nuestro centro, para servirlos tal como ellos quisieran? Maharaj comentaba también que él ya ha pasado por diferentes partidas de su maestro espiritual o de sus guardianes, comenzando con Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, con Srila Sridhar Maharaj, con Srila Govinda Maharaj y ahora con Srila Acharya Maharaj. Y aún así, ¿verdad?, él se siente, por supuesto, ¿verdad?, muy afligido por esta situación, pero aún así nos invita a todos a ocuparnos en el servicio de su misión de ellos y de sus devotos, que son todos ustedes. Y él dice que en este mundo, en este tiempo en el que estamos muy afligidos por la contingencia esta mundial del COVID-19, este virus, ¿verdad?, que ha infectado a todo el mundo y nadie se ha podido salvar de él. Muchas personas que están muriendo, no solamente personas que vemos en las noticias, pero personas que ya están relacionadas con nuestra comunidad. Y mencionaba, ¿verdad?, a una pareja de devotos en India, Ava y su esposo Jairam.
Sí, están en Soquel.
Están en Soquel y ellos perdieron, ¿verdad?, ella perdió a sus papás. Y hay una descripción de una situación de uno de sus familiares que ni siquiera sabe que ellos murieron porque no lo quieren.
Su madre.
La madre de ella. Entonces no la quieren dar esta noticia porque, ¿verdad?, que temen que ella, por la noticia solamente, soportar esa noticia. Y así como ellos, ¿verdad?, digo, bueno, primero que todo a nuestro gurú, a Srila Acharya Maharaj, ya no es una cuestión solamente de personas allegadas, sino los mismos devotos. ¿Qué decir de los mismos devotos? Sino que Srila Acharya Maharaj Él partió de este mundo. Por supuesto que eso es muy doloroso para sobrellevar para todos nosotros. También mencionó el hecho de que hay otros devotos en otras partes del mundo que también han sido, ¿verdad?, afectados por esta pandemia. Actualmente, por ejemplo, Puri Maharaj y Revati, ellos están tratando de recuperarse de una situación así. Hemos escuchado también de Sulalita de Venezuela y de Madhava Prasad de Ecuador y de muchos otros devotos que nos escriben, que hablan. Hemos perdido a personas muy queridas, entrañables, como Priya Canta de Irasi de Lima, Perú, Madura Priya de Irasi de Salamanca, Guanajuato. Hemos perdido también en las comunidades de habla hispana a los padres de los devotos, como nosotros aquí en México por lo menos sabemos de Todos Krishna Prabhu, que perdió a sus dos papás, mamá y papá, con diferencia de unos poquitos días debido a este COVID-19. Pero Maharaj está diciendo que esto es lo que le está pasando a la gente en general, ¿verdad? Estamos muriendo, estamos yendo al reino de Yamaras, ¿verdad? Pero que los devotos no deben de tener este temor, porque ellos están viviendo la vida de acuerdo a la bendición y al amor que les han dado todos estos seguidores del Señor Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especialmente nuestros guardianes, ¿no?, quienes nos han dado una meta, la meta de la vida, ¿no?, la meta superior de la vida, y también el proceso para encontrarla. Y que deben de sentirse todos deben sentirnos muy bendecidos, porque ellos han venido a darnos esta campaña del Señor Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, de compartirla con todos y cada uno, sin excepción. Entonces no debemos pensar que la nuestra, porque la vida que nos han dado es un ideal ordinario, no tenemos un ideal ordinario, tenemos el ideal provisto por Sriman Mahaprabhu y por sus seguidores. Y pero Nanda Maharaj dice una cosa que está de alabar a los Vaishnavas. Yes, Maharaj, can you say that?
What is that?
No, that point also you mentioned that my life is for glorifying the Vaishnavas.
Yes, Srila Govindamar said his life is serving his mission.
En español.
Bueno, Srila Govindamar dijo que su vida es para servir a los devotos, a la misión y a sus deidades. Y eso tratamos de hacer, pero consideramos que las noticias que recibimos están descendiendo del mundo eterno, del mundo espiritual, del plano de la devoción. Están descendiendo a nosotros a través de la misericordia de los Vaishnavas. Now I want to go back to English for a little bit. And so, always with us is our divine well-wishers, our spiritual master. We always used to see the signature, like of Srila Prabhupada, you're ever well-wisher. So, all my spiritual guardians are still my eternal well-wishers. And with these kind of well-wishers, I'm not thinking that my life is condemned. I'm thinking that my life is always prosperous, that I'm able to live for this, and I feel blessed by that. Sure, sometimes I'm also feeling the pressures of this world, and certainly the news that you will read in the newspaper or on the internet is always the same. It's always these. They never print good news. Only our good news is coming from our devotion and from that divine plane of devotion that's descending to us by the mercy of our Guru and our guardians. That is, like Srila Sridhamar says about that Om Tad Vishnu Parak. I'm trying to remember the line, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya, that the divine The lotus feet of the Lord is above us like a light that is illuminating our existence. Like that. So, at the same time, we're living surrounded by so many difficulties. And that's all right. Somehow or other, the difficulties are coming to test us. Even we know when someone is preaching, when somebody is trying to spread Krishna consciousness, immediately there will be some reaction coming against. So we're pushing forward, and some reaction coming in and against us, going in the opposite direction. That is the indication that what we are doing has some validity. It is real, and the reaction from the plane of Maya, or the plane of illusion, the plane of nescience, there's some reaction coming against us. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he used the terms, he talked about thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. I mean, maybe these are the terms of Hegel, but if you are preaching and something coming against you, that just gives you some indication that what you're doing, what you're trying to do is real. It is getting a reaction. If there's no reaction, like somebody told me, I got a vaccination and I didn't feel any reaction. And then somebody said, oh, they probably didn't give you any real vaccine, probably gave you water. I don't think so, but so many persons, they got vaccination and then they got reaction. So, okay, then maybe that indicates that some defense is building. So the same with us. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, she would talk. Before I can run, I have to learn to walk, and it's step by step. And sometimes I'm falling, and when I fall, I smash to the ground. But I use the same earth to push myself up and continue. And that's just by that way one learns. And in the future, not only one will learn how to walk, but one may become like, I don't know, some kind of Olympic runner or something like that. It all like going on like this. Anyway, Srila Govinda Maharaj told me, I am never hopeless. I am always hopeful. He said, that is my nature. I am always hopeful and never hopeless. And then he also said, and my, I don't know what you call it, my disease or my problem is that I believe everybody. He said, I believe everybody. I don't doubt people. He says, sometimes somebody may cheat me, but he says, it doesn't matter. I will have faith in people. I believe everyone. So I want to have that. I want to have that faith. I have that faith in the devotees. It doesn't mean that now I am Superman or something like that. It doesn't mean that. It just means that I am always hopeful. That is my nature. I'm not pessimist. I'm not cynical. Some persons are cynical. They think everything. They have to guard themselves against life. But I don't have that feeling. My feeling is always positive. Now, Govinda Maharaj, he told me that I was, he one time said I was careless, but he didn't mean that I wasn't careful about things. He didn't mean careless like that. He said I was careless, that I didn't have any real cares, that my nature is not to be, sometimes I'm very sentimental, and even if I see some sad movie, I can almost shed some tears. I'm a little too sentimental like that. But at the same time, I don't really have, I'm not worried about anything. I'm not really worried about existence. I was with Srila Govinda Maharaj on a plane, and the plane was, we were flying from we were flying from St. Petersburg to Moscow, and we were on the plane, and they didn't say anything to us, but they could not get the landing wheels, and they could not get them down. They would not move. They were stuck. So there was a problem, and the plane was flying for some hours, and someone looked down and they see the Baltic Ocean near us, beneath us. But there's no ocean in Moscow. There's no water around Moscow. So then people are understanding that we have not left the place of St. Petersburg. They're just circling and burning fuel and getting ready to try and land without wheels. A little difficult to land without wheels, maybe. So then the flight attendants came, and they took persons who were sitting in the exit seats near the doors. That was, I think, Bhakti Lalita was in one of those seats, and they took her out of that seat and put her somewhere else, and put one big Russian person there so that he can work the doors and everything. And it looks, and people are getting very frightened because they think the plane is going to crash. And Srila Govindamars, he turned to Vimalananda, his servant, and he just looked at him. Vimalananda was very frightened, and Srila Govindamars said, "So, are you ready to die?" And that's what he told him. And Vimalananda was very affected. But I was on the plane. I'm thinking, nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. I'm with Govindamars on this plane. Nothing will happen. There is nothing that is going on. And then we're coming down to the St. Petersburg airport, and there are ambulances all near the runway. And at the last minute when we are coming down, boom, they get the landing wheels to go down, and we land. Now we started hours ago in St. Petersburg, and we landed in St. Petersburg, and they didn't say anything to anyone on the plane. No word. They never said we're having difficulties or we might crash or anything. They just didn't say anything. Then we landed in St. Petersburg, and then the only announcement, there will be another plane leaving for Moscow in half an hour. So go to that plane and get on that plane. And that's what happened. Then we went with Srila Govindamars and got on the plane, and we went to Moscow. Of course, we got there late, but no problem. But the normal passengers, they were very, very worried, everyone. And I guess even Vimalananda, Srila Govindamars' servant, he's very frightened. But, I mean, I'm just thinking, Govindamars is here, and he's everything for me, and he's on this plane, and nothing will happen to him, and that means the plane won't be all right. And even if something happens, I'm in that divine association. Why should I worry? Why am I caring? I'm not worried. I'm not upset by that. And I have this strange nature that I don't think about death in the way many people will think about it. I am just thinking that after so-called death, the same persons still exist, but I just can't see them. I can't be with them, but they're eternally existing. I'm not without the association of my divine guardians. That will continue, just like in this world. I could not see them all the time, but they're sending me to different places to do my service. So I'm still with that mood of service to my guardians, and I'm hoping in the future that I can be with and visit so many places. Now I heard we have been wanting to have a meeting with all the devotees in India, because in India so many temples and everything was being run by Srila Acharya Maharaj, and we planned. We all met, and we made tried to make some board, but then now India extended the lockdown by 15 days. They extended the lockdown. So very difficult. Now, how can the meeting take place? We wanted to have a physical meeting and, make minutes book and everything like that. And now the government extended the lockdown for 15 days. And certainly we know the situation in India, people are, they have to take precautions. But then it's the world we live in. Been through many situations. We went to one country, and they said, and when I entered in the country, the people said, "Why have you come? Why have you come? We don't want you. Why don't you go home?" That's what they told me at immigration. Oh, thank you. I feel very welcome. They gave me 3 days in the country. That was Guyana. We're trying to register the society in Guyana, and the government was officially, at the time of Berman, he was the communist leader of Guyana, and so normally somebody is thinking and we're trying to register the society, and somebody is normally thinking that if I will find an important person, I will be able to register the society. If somebody in important position helps me. But that was not going to work. So we found one lawyer, or one notary like that, and he said, "I can do anything for money. If you give me money, I could do anything. I can register your society." So we said yes, and after some days, he registered the society for us. And I asked him how he did that, and he said, "My philosophy is I never start at the top. I always start where," he says, "I start at the bottom. And if I'm not successful there, I go a little higher. And if I'm not successful there, I go a little higher." So he said, I met one woman who worked in the registrar's office, and I met her in the gym. We were both at the gym, and this woman worked in a registrar's office. So he said, I start talking to her and everything. And then I asked her if she can help me register the society, and she said yes. And then he said like this, I registered the society, and we paid him. But he said, I never tried to start with the most important people at the top. My philosophy is start at the bottom, and if you don't succeed at the bottom, then you can go up one level. And if you don't succeed there, you can go up another level. But if you start at the top and they say no, it's all finished. So he said, that is not my philosophy to try and get. So, we're also doing canvassing work, and we are meeting people, and sometimes we're dealing with many people. We are doing programs, but even if one person or two people will join us, then our congregation is growing. And Krishna consciousness cannot be stopped. Actually, we're going on. We don't depend on converting the whole country, but if we convert few good persons, serious persons, then our mission is going on successfully. And anyway, we had Srila Govinda Maharaj when we had one radio program for him in California, and he did this radio program, and afterwards the lady who was interviewing him said to him, she said, you are the most charming person I ever met in my life. She said, you are the most charming person. So Governor Marsh, he's winning persons and winning their heart. When we went to Mexico, we had some symposium of religions, and Sheila Govinda Marsh was invited there as the honored guest. And afterwards, they're doing, at the time of the program, at the introduction, they're playing the national anthem of Mexico. And Govinda Marsh is standing like this, with his hand on his heart, during the playing of the national anthem. And after the program, they asked the Sheila Govinda Marsh, they said, so we want to know, on television, they said this. They said, what is your opinion of the Catholic Church? That was a question for television. What do you think about the Catholic Church? Now, we know that 99% of the people probably in Mexico, they're all Catholic. So, this is kind of a question. What is your opinion of the Catholic Church? But Govinda Marsh didn't hesitate at all. He said, all religions are trying to do good for the people. They are trying to raise the consciousness of the people from gross materialism to a spiritual conception of life. To a spiritual conception of life. All religions are trying to do good for the people. So like that. And he answered in this very nice way. And everybody is happy with his answer. When he went to Colombia, they asked Sheila Govinda Marsh, do you have some message for the Colombian people? And he said, yes, I have this message. He said, you have ample sunshine here. You have the abundance of nature. You have nice vegetables, fruit. You have ample food for everyone. You have the blessings of nature. And he said, now if you just try to add to your life, Trinada Pisunichena Tarori Vasahishna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahadi. Maybe he didn't say those words, but he said humility, offering respect to others, and tolerance. If you try to develop these qualities, then it will be very good for your country. And he talked like that. And he's talking that way. When we went to Moscow, they had some programs scheduled for Srila Govinda Marsh, and they wanted him to speak, and then the government saw it. Too many people were going to come. So then they said, we don't want religion, so you cannot talk about religion. So Govinda Marsh says, all right, we won't talk about religion, we'll talk about culture, India's culture. And so they said, all right, let people come. But they said, okay, now you have to speak about Indian culture. So Srila Govinda Marsh started. This is in a part of big place in Moscow. Maybe I don't know, 5,000 people. Some number of people were there, but not as much as they expected because they had canceled the main program. But Srila Govinda Marsh speaking about culture, and he started out by saying, when you speak about Indian culture, you always have to speak about Krishna. Krishna is in the center of Indian culture. And then he went on to speak in that way. So, always this positive message going on. I'm always thinking about how, even in the greatest difficulties, our acharyas are giving us so much mercy. And I was remembering some other things, but these things I'm remembering, being with them. I remember being with Prabhupada during the Bangladesh war, and there was a complete blackout, and we were in a park in Kolkata called Deshapriya Park, and they had no electricity, everything was dark. You could not light a match or a candle. Everything dark. No sound, no electricity. And that was for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We're in the middle of a war. But then, when the sound came back on, Srila Prabhupada is like a lion, so, and he never had his name, Aboy Charanaravidya, one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord has no fear. That's the meaning of his name, Aboy Charanaravidya. That one who is situated at the Lord's lotus feet, he has no fear. And he was like that. When we did a program in Kolkata in the Maidan, or whatever they call it, the Esplanade, there in Kolkata, big park around, going down Chowrangi Boulevard, and Srila Prabhupada in that park. And you know, the Bengalis, they mostly eat, their main meal is rice. If they eat rice 3 times a day, they're happy. So, but in that program, we distributed puris, and I think puris and halva. And when the people saw the puris, they attacked the servers. They wanted those puris very desperately. They're charging to get the puris. Normally, maybe they're eating rice, but when they saw puris and halva, they're very much like, give me some of that. And then when Prabhupada was to do the questions and answer, there was one person who sent in this paper that said, fly or die. That was the message to Prabhupada. Fly or die, because that time in Bengal, there was one called the Naxalites. They were killing about 3 people every week. Big, important industrial people, they're killing them. There's some kind of the Naxalite revolution kind of thing. And Bengal always some trouble there. So this question, fly or die. Prabhupada reads this and he just laughed. No, he has no fear of fly or die. He's not going to fly. So I'm considering that, you know, all these things happening, but I'm myself, I'm a little bit like a child. I don't care about the situation. The situation may be difficult, and if somebody says we have this difficult situation, what shall we do? And I'll say, well, one thing we should do is maybe we should have breakfast or lunch or whatever. Anyway, I'm happy to see you. I mean, I'm happy just being with the devotees. And I'm remembering Acharya Maharaj, and I'm remembering him with affection. I will think of everyone. I was trying to think of my divine guardians with the affection that they showed for me. And I'm living by that affection. What else is there to do? If I have the affection of the devotees, then my life is successful. So, anyway, I will try to serve all of you. If you ask me to do something or some help, even though I consider myself not worthy of anything, but I will try to do what you ask me to do. If there is some way I could serve the devotees, I will try to do that. Why not? So, anyway, maybe I'm speaking a little long. We have with us Ashra, Mars, others. Lakshmi Kanti. It's hard to translate everything. So,
I'm trying.
You're doing very well, Maharaj.
I'm trying to people.
do any of you have any questions? Here's what I also think. Ashram Mars, he is working for many years. He's serving in Mexico. Because of his presence, Mexico is so successful in my eyes. Mexico is, the mission is successful there. And he is traveling to Colombia, and he is traveling to Ecuador, and he's traveling to Peru, and he's talking with the devotees in Venezuela and everything. And my feeling is that the presence of Ashram Mars, he will continue just as he's done in the past, serving the devotees, and that means they have that divine connection. He is always giving his time and energy to, so then I feel like you have someone with you who can attend to all the needs of especially the Spanish-speaking world. He can, he's always going there before on Acharya Maharaj's behalf, and he will continue with his service. And I have no doubts about Ashram Maharaj. He's my best friend, and always I consider he's a divine person. His association for me is very important. And he giving shelter to so many persons and always serving Acharya Maharaj. He has that nature. And by his good association, I feel I am able to become properly situated. That's what I'm also thinking. His friendship means a lot to me. And I don't know, I have some good fortune. In my chart, I have, well, it's some mundane thing, but I have Jupiter retrograde in the second house, which means I can always speak on spiritual matters. That second house is the house of speech. And I have that, I can always have some, feel like I'm always happy to speak about what is our divine prospect. What can I say? I'm happy to be able to glorify the Lord and his devotees. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I believe it's a quote that Govinda Maharaj said, he said, my business is to glorify the Vaishnavas. So, someone who is a real Vaishnava, I'm happy to glorify that person. That is my business. I want to do that. It gives me happiness. It gives me happiness to speak of the glories of the Vaishnavas. Of course, in this world, what can you say? Anyway, any questions? Questions of the devotees. You can direct the question. If you speak Spanish, direct the question to Ashram Maharaj. If you speak English, direct the question to me. Or if you have questions for either of us, then you can ask.
Yeah. Sandalaj, I had a question for something.
Yes.
You know how Gurudev was writing guidance 5? You know what was happening to that? Like, will it continue? Will it be after something happened to it?
Will the society continue?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You look around you. Ananda Mantari, you look around us. Does it look like the society is continuing?
No, Janardhan Maharaj, she's referring to guidance number 5, the book.
Oh, guidance.
Has mentioned that in his last darshan. In his last darshan, he said that he was going to write it. She's wondering what's going to happen with that.
Did he write any? Has he written any of it yet?
I have no idea.
Oh, who would know about that is what is her name in Russia, who helped with the publication?
The Didi, maybe?
Yeah, maybe Sundalata knows something if there is any work being done on the 5th.
Another Maharaj is Krishna Kishore. I asked Sadhu Maharaj about this, and he said maybe they have something that they can compile as a book, but it's not any firm work in progress right now.
But if you ask, I'm sure that if you ask Kundalata, there's so many things that Acharya Maharaj spoke and instructions he gave, and maybe they don't make that same book, but they can compile different things that Acharya Maharaj has said, and they can publish something. I'm sure if you talk with them, they can always publish some of what Srila Acharya Maharaj has spoken, can make a book like that. But I don't know about that particular book. You're asking me about that book. But what I'm thinking we want to do in the future is we want to try and present those books to the devotees. That means that we can also have in English or in Spanish, we can have some classes reading those books and put them online. That will be good. So, Krishna Chaitanya, how are you?
Dandavat Maharaj.
Dandavat.
We are fine here. Dandavat.
Now I saw you yesterday, now I'm seeing you today, so now I know all of you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Very good. Happy to be able to see you.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Oh, Vishaka. Oh, I'm happy to see you.
You too, Maharaj. Dandavat to you and Ashram Maharaj and Jivika Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas here. First I wanted to say, how much we appreciate these meetings. It's been very nourishing hearing from you and the others. And I think we're all really feeling at this time the need to be united. So this gathering is very valuable. And also my question, I hope my question is not premature, but we're all very concerned about the mission in India, and we're all hearing some news about Riho Maharaj, and he'll take some role of responsibility. Could you offer any clarification on that?
Yes. Our main concern about India is that Acharya Maharaj, he did so many things personally, and many temples and many centers. Like he himself was directing everything. So now he's gone. How the temples will go on? And many of the Indian leaders were also concerned on that. So, and we know that Acharya Maharshi spoke of Nariha Maharaj, that he was wanting to train him as his successor and everything like that. It's true. At the same time, we thought that there needs to be some organization in India for continuing with help for all the different temples, especially in Bengal, because Acharya Maharaj opened many different temples in Bengal and it's going on like that. So when was it Ashram Maharaj? Was it about 4 or 5 days ago or something like that? We had a meeting with some of the Indian devotees, and there were some other persons there like Ravindra Krishna and others. And we tried, in that meeting, we had Nariha Maharaj, who was present, and also Vishnu Maharaj, who was present there, 2 of Acharya Maharaj's leading sannyasis in the mission. And as I said, he spoke of wanting Nariha Maharaj to be his successor. So we had that meeting, and the idea was to form some kind of group of management, because Govinda Maharaj didn't want to foreigners to be involved in the management of India. We thought that Indians, devotees should do that. So everyone was suggesting names to make some group of management. And Ravi Maharaj, he said, this person and that person, this person and that person. So we had a list of how many persons was on that list, Asha Maharaj, like 25 people? I don't know. Asha Maharaj was there also. So it was about 25 different leaders of the temple, leading devotees.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good number. There was also a shock.
Ashok and Vrindavan, very important, and of course was Kesto Prabhu and Puri and other devotees. And we had made Janta Maharaj and everything. So then we made this, and of course.
Not only devotees from Delhi.
Okay. And what is it, Vijay Krishna and others. So they were supposed to have a meeting, but then I just received news that the government of India extended the lockdown by 15 days. They wanted to have a physical meeting. Maybe. But the idea was to try to have a meeting of all the devotees and reach some kind of consensus with them and to see how the management will go on. And we also spoke of, so we were trying to get that to come together. So it's still in some stage where, in the absence of the spiritual master, then we will deal with the problems that come up one by one, but I feel like immediately right now, like the purpose of this meeting also is to, speak of the glories of Acharya Maharaj, and so that his devotees can feel some kind of, satisfaction in their heart. He only left this world. He left this world on the 10th of May, and we're still, right now, we're on, today's day, the 30th, so less than 3 weeks ago, he left this world. And we're still trying to serve him with the memory, but so close to us. So our immediate thing is wanting to give satisfaction to the devotees. We know of Acharya Maharaj's desire, and we know that desire will come to be, but at the same time we will try to satisfy the devotees by speaking about, and remembering Srila Acharya Maharaj and serving his mission. I said that we will initiate persons who wanted to have initiation with Acharya Maharaj. We will initiate those persons in name of Srila Acharya Maharaj who wanted to take his initiation. So I was speaking to devotees there in Ukraine, and yesterday they said one lady, her name was Tanya. They wanted her to have Harinam as a disciple of Srila Acharya Maharaj. So I went online and they have beads chanted by Acharya Maharaj. So I went online and then I told her name is Trailokya Sundari, which is the name of Srimati Radharani. So I wrote, and like that, I know in England, I just got some message. Somebody said they were cut. Their connection they could not continue. I think they came from India because it was area code 91. Who that is? Anyway, it's also called there's one person in England, she was asking questions, and like this, we're going to continue trying to serve Srila Charya Maharaj's mission and his devotees. And as far as what will continue when Neri Maharaj take responsibility and everything, well, I think part of the purpose of this meeting was to be able to try and work something out for India and meet consensus of the devotees, meeting with the devotees. I don't think, it's me. We can't just impose our will, just like say that Charya Maharaj wanted this. The devotees will meet and then we'll come together how they can serve the Charya Maharaj's mission. So I don't know if I'm answering your question directly, but this is my own way of answering.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
But I will also say this. I am, in California, we have persons like Vaidehi giving classes on Facebook, and we have also Brenda giving classes there. She's giving classes about philosophy and also teaching cooking. And I think part of the inspiration we have is because you're also preaching and giving regular talks. And I think it is very good that our ladies are occupied in the preaching mission, because many of the devotees, they want to hear from the ladies in our mission. They want to hear their participation. I remember when Srila Prabhupada started the mission, and we were in India, and some of the ladies, they're from the West, so in India, the ladies, at that time, the ladies would, in the kirtans, they weren't dancing, but then they see the Western ladies are dancing, and then some of the Indians start dancing and all that. And they were very encouraged to see the active participation in the mission of the ladies, and I'm very happy to see that, like you speak very nicely about the philosophy and the scriptures. So I'm very happy to be able to have the participation of persons in our mission, especially coming from all sections, even programs going on for the children. We always remember Srila Govinda Maharaj. He's giving a lecture, and one of the children would come up to him with a flower or something, and he would stop his lecture and receive the flower and say something to that child. And he's very happy just to receive that flower from the children's section of the devotees. And now that section grown up, who we were seeing as small boys and girls, now they're married with children. And I was seeing that. Brajakanti, the mother of Krishna Mohini, she's married with Ramachandra. She's from Colombia. Her mother, Brajakanti, is from Medellin. And Brajakanti, she visited recently, and she one time told me, she said, I met this, and you have to, her daughter is an adult. She's like 30-some years old. And Brajakanti is her mother, and Brajakanti told me, I met you in Colombia when I was 8 years old. That's what her mother told me. And I'm thinking, my God, how old am I? That Brajakanti's mother telling me, I met you in Colombia when I was 8 years old. I'm thinking, my God, I'm really old. But Brajakanti's mother, she doesn't look old at all. Just me who looks old, not her. But I'm saying who were children. Now they are the adults, and they have children. Who we call Shogi, his name's Shatrugna. I went to his birthday party when he was 3 years old. 3 years old, and Sanatani, she gave me, Shugi was at that time, I was living in Mexico, and I was visiting Shuddha Shravani, and Sanatani had a house, and and near the temple on 13th Street. And Shugi didn't know me so much, so he was afraid of me. And Sanatani bought him a bag of Hershey Kisses, and it was his 3-year-old birthday party. He was there, and Mahayogi. I was there, and Mahayogi Maharaj, from California, he was there. And I gave Shugi this bag of Hershey chocolates, and then I became his best friend. Then he saw me as his best friend. Now that boy who we were at his birthday party when he's 3 years old, now he's, I think, like he works with, I don't know, with, involved with construction or something, and he has 2 children. One of them's 6 years old, and now some new boy just born about a few months ago. I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. But who I saw as a child, they are now grown. So now we see the children participating in the mission. The ladies, and many of the ladies actually, they want to hear from our lady preachers. They're tired of hearing just men give all the talks. They want to hear something interesting from our lady section. And I think that's very good. And I like that you're going and you're speaking on the internet. You have Bhakti Connect, that is what you're speaking from, right?
We do a Monday Zoom with Bhakti, through Bhakti Connect, yeah.
Okay. Also, if I'm speaking about children, please forgive me, but I knew Vishaka from the time when her parents, when she was small, and they were living in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. Her father and mother were living there, and her and her sister Ishwari, they would come to the temple of Guadalajara. So, like, I have also known you since you were small, right?
Yes, that's my good fortune, Maharaj. That's my good fortune. I've had so many guardians since my birth.
And then I saw that you were serving to Srila Govindamar in Navadip. You were there in the office and helping all the devotees. Nice to see you. Anyway, anyone have a question? Because I'm just speaking blah blah blah, like Ananta Krishna used to say that, just blah blah blah. Ananta Krishna from Hungary. Some of you may know him. He's very special, kind of very different in his thinking. He would film Srila Govindamars, and he had his camera on a big string, and it was spinning sometimes. Movie camera. But I'm blessed. I feel myself blessed to know all the devotees. Anyway, anyone have a question about? You can ask questions about anything. If we don't like a question, we'll change it and speak about something else. But we're happy to have some questions. None.
De Bogotá.
Sí.
¿Cómo está? ¿Todo bien?
Bien. Como dicen en México, aquí chambeando.
Maharaj, voy a hacer una pregunta, pero espero no ofender por ser reiterativa, porque he escuchado que varias personas tienen muchas preguntas para saber qué es lo que va a pasar con esta misión. Y realmente sí, estamos tratando de glorificar a Srila Acharya Maharaj, quien desapareció de esta forma y nos ha dejado pues este gran vacío con tanta desfortuna. Sin embargo, para nosotros que estamos fuera de India, que es un asunto un poquito de ansiedad y de preocupación. Imagínense Maharaj para aquellas personas que están en India, que dependían absolutamente de Srila Acharya Maharaj. Srila Acharya Maharaj no era una persona así muy paciente de esperar tanto. ¿Qué podemos esperar entonces en esta situación? Cada día más abrumadora y en cierta forma, porque sin el líder principal, pues hay algunas personas que podríamos sentirnos o pueden sentirse un poquito solas, afligidas y desvalidas.
¿Y qué es tu pregunta?
Mi pregunta es esta, Maharaj, cuando hay tantas personas que están pidiendo que por favor te aclare un poquito las circunstancias, entonces, ¿qué es lo que tenemos? Como no podemos saber nada porque estamos todavía esperando una decisión, ¿qué en este momento qué es lo que tenemos hacer para poder calmar un poquito estas ansias sin saber qué es lo que va a ocurrir? Y además, ya lo decían todos, ¿no? Esta situación tan desesperada en medio del COVID, de las premuras económicas y de todos los asuntos, Maharaj, ¿cuál es su consejo para que nosotros podamos esperar tranquilamente en medio de toda esta situación de
Lakshmi Kanti. Oh, Lakshmi Kanti.
Yes, Maharaj.
Can you help me? I'm half deaf anyway, but can you help me understand her question?
Well, she was apologizing because it's also in the same line as what Vishaka was asking, but the thing is that we all here in the mission feel a little concerned and sad because the departure of Srila Acharya, but she's also focusing in what about those ones in India that were depending absolutely from Srila Acharya? So she's just expressing concern of what about them, what will be the situation with them, what is going to happen. So it's something on that line. See, Mallory?
Well, that's what I was saying. We were trying to involve ourselves. We don't want to involve ourselves in a management of India.
I think she wasn't mostly about management.
Well,
It's mostly about where is the shelter of those that were like under the lotus feet, completely depending on Srila Acharya. Who's gonna be their shelter now?
They are under the shelter of Acharya Maharaj, under the shelter of his lotus feet. They are still under the shelter of Acharya Maharaj's lotus feet. We are always under the shelter of the lotus feet of our divine guardian. That doesn't change. I'm still under the shelter of Srila Govinda Maharaj's lotus feet. I'm under the shelter of Acharya Maharaj's divine lotus feet. I'm under the shelter of Srila Guru Maharaj's lotus feet. I'm under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. I'm under the shelter of the Vaishnavas. I depend on them for my good fortune. I will continue to depend on the Vaishnavas. Their mercy is everything for me. So why I'm considering that now Gurudev is gone and no longer I can count on his protection. Well, okay, I'm maybe in one sense I'm like an orphan child, but at the same time, I have many protectors around me. I have many persons with me. I have much family. I can think that I'm an orphan, but I'm not really an orphan. I have my brothers and I have my sisters and Srila Govinda Maharaj, he also always said, I'm not so worried about the West. The temples in the West will go on, and you will go on with your service to Srila Acharya Maharaj and to your divine protector. So you're not without shelter. So you can say, well, how am I supposed to realize that? How am I supposed to understand that? Then you must have the shelter of the devotees. Now, I said there was a difficulty in India. They could not travel because of the lockdown. And some of you are experiencing those same problems. You are stuck in your house and there's a lockdown. But you have so much available to you. Maybe sometimes when you cannot go outward, sometimes you have to go inward. When you cannot travel externally, when you cannot do things outwardly, then you have to travel inwardly. You still have that option. You still have that good fortune. You have to see within yourself. Madhavi, I've known you for many, many years. You're not new. You are serving with the devotees. You're in Colombia. There are hundreds and hundreds of devotees in Colombia. Thousands. And you have a shelter. You have your own family of persons who are devotees. So you must continue with your service to Acharya Maharaj and pray. You have to, if you have nothing else, you can offer your tears to your spiritual master. That's what Srila Sri Maharaj says. If you are so unfortunate you have nothing to offer the Sri Guru, then you can offer your tears to him. That will be a good offering. So always we have something we can offer. We're trying to offer our lives to Srila Gurudev. You think he won't accept your life? You're offering your life. So many years you're a devotee. People are depending on you. How many, you have grandchildren. People are depending on you. Nothing new here. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, as far as who will take shelter of, it is true that Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, in the absence of my Guru, I must take shelter of a Siksha Guru. So there is your indication. You have the association of Vaishnavas, and somebody you can depend on can help you as your Siksha Guru, is giving you some divine instructions. And we're having these meetings. And I'm sure you can have the Association of Divine Personalities there in Colombia also. There are many persons trained in the mission. And we're trying to meet with the devotees. So Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, in the absence of one's Diksha Guru, one should have the association and guidance of a Siksha Guru. Now, initiating spiritual master is one, but Siksha Gurus can be many. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they are my Siksha Guru. And he says in every chapter, Shri Rupa, how does it be ending? Shri Rupa, he prays to Rupa Raghunath at the end of every chapter. Because I'm becoming forgetful, I forget what I read every day. But geez, why am I not remembering it? Shri Rupa. Ashra Maharaj. Oh, maybe he's not online. I don't see him.
Rupa Raghunath Padija, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas.
Shri Rupa Raghunath, what's the next word? Jariyash? Shri Rupa Raghunath Padijarash. So he's praying out, and I'm reading this a million times, and I can't remember my name. But anyway, at the end of every chapter, he's remembering Rupa Raghunath. So guidance coming in the form of the divine memory of our acharyas. Who am I? Who am I? And where am I? But at the same time, I have the association of so many Vaishnavas. Now, when I'm continuing this way. So you put your faith in the association of the Vaishnavas. You take guidance from the divine scriptures, and you can hear from someone who can help you. Ashram Mars many times, he's going to Colombia, he's going to Ecuador, he's going to Peru. You can, and he is always there. You can always approach him. If you ask us some question, we'll try to answer you. We'll try to, as much as possible by us, we'll try to give you some guidance. That's why we are continuing with these meetings, because we want to glorify Acharya Maharaj. We want to give, what little, maybe I'm like when they were building the bridge to go to Sri Lanka. Everyone was throwing something into the water, and it was writing the name of Lord Brahma, and the rocks are floating. But even some small spider, or sometimes they say chipmunk. What is it? This squirrel with a stripe on its back. They're all, and Hanuman saying, "Hey, you're small, get out of the way, or you'll get hurt." And Ramachandra saying, "No, that person's doing his part. He's also helping to build this bridge. He's throwing his dust in and everything." So all of you are helping. And in your association, there's so much strength. I gave that example some weeks ago. It is still true. One stick you can break easily, but when you put many sticks together, you cannot break that. Many sticks together. So we have an association of Vaishnavas, and we're here to help each other. That's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. We are here to glorify the Lord together, and we will get realization from this. So you have this divine gift, Madhavi. You're very fortunate. I saw when I was there, the mission in Colombia was I thought was very nice. It was very going on. So you may tell me, everyone may tell me, oh, there's this problem and this problem. But why do you think problems will go away? There's supposed to be problems. Krishna did not tell Arjuna, I will guide the chariot, you can take rest. He didn't tell Arjuna that. Anyway, a little out of hand. Ok, Madhavi. Tú puedes leer la traducción, o tú entiendes lo que estoy diciendo.
Yes, I understand. Thank you for. Yes, Maharaj. I understand you. Thank you for all. Very nice your answer. Sorry.
Well, I hope what I said made some help. Do we have? I was supposed to ask this. How is everything in Brazil? Because we wanted to have the presence and participation of the devotees of Brazil, and I'm reminded of that because I'm seeing Nanda Priya and Devabandhu, and we wanted to hear from the devotees in Brazil.
Dhanavad Pranam, Srila Janardana Maharaj, Srila Ashram Maharaj, and all the devotees. We are feeling so much nourishment from your association, Maharaj, in this time of so much need. We are so happy We know that the temple in São Paulo is going on with Damodar Prabhu, very dedicated and enthusiastic about maintaining the program and all the worship and preaching. So that is very glorious going on in Brazil, in São Paulo, the service of Damodar Prabhu and everyone that's helping him. And we are at the land that Srila Maharaj gave the name Bhakti Sundar Farm. We are feeling also very fortunate. We have this big land to develop as our service attempt to build something for the devotees as a home for the devotees so they can come and we can practice here. And it's a very big and very beautiful land. And we have the cows are here by the grace of Srila Maharaj. Also he blessed us to bring some very special deer cows here. They are giving a lot of milk and making the land fertile.
How many cows?
The gardens.
How many cows are there?
There are 2 cows.
How many?
2 cows.
3 now.
And 2 cows. 2 cows and 2 cows. And they're very good genetic cows and very beautiful, giving a lot of milk every day. So we have.
You mean two cows and 2 calves?
Yeah, two mothers, one baby cow called Kalingi, and one boy called Subal. He's already 2 years old. So we will maybe work with carrying some weight and being friendly with devotees and something like this. And all the lady cows with so much milk. Now we need the devotees to drink all that milk.
Well, you can make also many nice milk sweets too, huh? You can make sandesh, and you can make rasgulla, and so many nice things.
Yes, even butter and ghee, because their milk is so fast, we are able to make ghee and all paneer and some that. It has become very opulent because of that. And we are trying to gather the devotees in Brazil once a week for a meeting and like a
Zoom meeting.
So we are meeting once a week since the departure of Srila Maharaj. So we are trying to keep ourselves together.
Yeah,
Also we are
preaching can go on in Sao Paulo, and some persons who want to be out of the city, maybe they can go to help in the farm.
Yes, Maharaj. Now everything is a little bit locked, but before the devotees were always coming, and some weekends, some holidays, they would come. But this year has been different because everybody is locked. We are not locked because we are in the farm, but we are meeting in the Zoom. So at least some opportunity. And we hear Sandra Prabhu spend some time in the ashram in campus. Maybe he has some news from there. And soon he will come here too. Maybe after a few days.
Who I'm also thinking about in Brazil is Raseshwari.
Yes.
You hear from
every
her?
week I send some invitation to her to come to the Zoom meeting, but she has not come so far. I don't know so much about her, but we are also thinking of her and trying to.
I would like to speak to her sometime. If you have her number, send me her number or contact. I'll talk with her. She's down there.
Definitely, Maharaj.
She's down there in the southern part of Brazil, near Porto Alegre. And I went visit her once. I think her husband, he's a dentist also. And there in that part of Brazil.
She herself is a dentist.
What? She's also dentist?
She herself is a dentist.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And I saw there's many Germans there in that part of Brazil. in Brazil, many Germans and Italians and also Spanish people there. And in that part of Brazil, many Germans, and there's a sign near some factory near there, and it says, big sign that said, Fritz and Frida. When they saw that.
Eles estão falando com o Brasil, você quer falar alguma coisa?
So maybe
Ele perguntou de você.
maybe I will talk with, and sometimes talking with Programas, he contacts me. He's there in Brazil and he's trying to preach and everything. But actually I've not heard her for a little while, and I like her very much. She's a very nice person.
Yes. After the departure of Shilacharya Maharaj, I spoke to her because I found one picture and she's in front of him sweeping the ground in Ekachaka, and she said that she has so much love for that picture because she's sweeping the place where the Samadhi is now, and she was very much feeling his departure. So I'm sure she will be very nice if you reach for her. I'm sure, Maharaj.
Are there any other devotees here on this Zoom meeting from Brazil now also?
Fuller Krishna.
Yes, Fuller Krishna, and Govinda Hari Prabhu, and also Damodar Prabhu participating.
Dandavat Pranam
Fuller
Shilacharya.
Krishna, Govinda Hari.
Dandavat Pranam Shilacharya Maharaj. Damodara Das.
Damodar, how are you? You were in Sao Paulo.
Em São Paulo.
Shananda Didi.
Who is with you?
Shananda. Shunanda.
Oh, I cannot hear very good. I'm getting.
Dandavat Maharaj,
Dandavat.
Sorry for interrupting. Maharaj, I just have a question. Do you think it's a good time to invite a Niraham or a particular Niraham Maharaj into our meeting?
Is he on?
Also,
Is he present online right now?
he is not in the Zoom. You could invite Ashram Maharaj. I'm just suggesting it depends on and Ashram.
He can come and speak anytime. We have the meetings. He's an honored person. He can speak.
Yes, ma'am. So. Who could invite him? Because he probably is not aware.
I'm sure Sadhu Maharaj, he can invite him.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Sadhu Maharaj, you are present, right? He's the one who makes the meetings and he sends out the invitation.
I'm sorry. Todas las verdades de Morelia, acepten mis reverencias, por favor, usted y todos los votos.
Dandavat. ¿Cómo estás, Gadadhar?
Dandavat Maharaj.
Muy bien, Maharaj. Gracias por su atención. Y bueno, aprovechando el medio, quisiera preguntar algo en relación precisamente también a la Acharya Maharaj.
I want to say one thing. Also, Gadadhar Prabhu, I know since he's very young, he's married to one. His wife is from Ukraine. What is the name of your wife?
Aruna Kanti.
Karuna Kanti. Aruna Kanti. Okay. ¿Qué es tu pregunta, Gadadhar?
Sí, Maharaj, bueno, pues primeramente agradecerle a usted, a Ashan Maharaj, a todos los devotos presentes por permitirnos esta asociación en línea. Y bueno, pues una pregunta que me siento pues, obligada a hacerla es en cuanto a la construcción del samadhi, la Bhakti Malacharya Maharaj. ¿De qué forma podemos cooperar, ayudar para su creación? No sé si ustedes o de ahora sí que esta propuesta, este plan, o qué hay avances en relación a esto. ¿Existe un término? ¿Hay formas para poder cooperar e iniciar la construcción? Esta es la pregunta.
Gadadhar Prabhu is asking about what plans are there for the construction of the samadhi and how can they contribute and what can be done about the samadhi. I'm also going to ask Ashamars, ¿tú puedes hablar en español? Después yo traduzco en inglés.
Gadadhar Prabhu, Dandavat a ti, a tu esposa, Admakanti, a tus niños, Gaura Priya, ¿y quién más?
Y Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari es su nombre.
¿Cuántos hijos tienes?
Tengo dos. Gaura Priya de 3 años y Gaura Hari de 2 meses.
Un saludo para todos. No se escuchó.
Sí, lo escuchamos.
Qué bueno, porque aquí se está muy bien, el internet está muy bien. Pero en cuanto de Srila Acharya Maharaj, yo creo que Sadhu Maharaj, lo más pronto posible, ¿verdad? Él va a definir, una vez que los devotos están reuniéndose, los devotos en Bengal están reuniéndose y ellos ya saben, ¿verdad?, de la necesidad de tener las cuentas en orden para poder recibir donativos de parte de todos los devotos en Occidente. Entonces, se necesita un tiempo, generalmente, no sé si lo van a hacer aquí ahora con el Samadhi Mandir de Srila Acharya Maharaj. Generalmente se da un tiempo de unos meses después de que se le da Samadhi al cuerpo trascendental, al cuerpo divino de Srila Acharya Maharaj, como se ha hecho con Srila Govinda Maharaj, también con Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Se da un tiempo, ¿verdad?, para no ocupar el lugar del Samadhi Mandir. No sé si ahora se va a hacer para mantener una atmósfera tranquila, adecuada, ¿verdad? Para ahora recién que se ha hecho el Samadhi de Srila Acharya Maharaj, y una vez que ese tiempo pase, entonces ya se va a construir el Samadhi Mandir. Si es así, ahora no sé, ellos tienen que decirnos si va a ser, si no se va a dar un tiempo, eso también ellos nos lo tienen que decir, algún plan ha de haber. Pero en ambos casos, ya sea que se comience ahorita o que se dé un tiempo para la tranquilidad del lugar donde está el Samadhi de Srila Acharya Maharaj y después comenzar con los trabajos de construcción, en ambos casos se nos va a avisar y se va a hacer un buen llamado a toda la comunidad internacional para sumarnos y de esta manera apoyar, ¿verdad?, para la construcción de este templo tan especial de Srila, el Samadhi Mandir de Srila Acharya Maharaj. No sé si aquí hemos estado varias veces solicitando a Sadhu Maharaj, que está por ahí, pero no sé si él está presente y sería bueno. Ellos también nos dijeron que por el momento de las reuniones pasadas, creo que Trivikram Maharaj, porque él envió un dinero, pero no sé si él u otros devotos nos dijeron que habían recibido la instrucción directamente de Sadhu Maharaj, de su Devi, que por un momento, por unas semanas, guardáramos de enviar dinero, que no se envía ese dinero, no porque no quieren o no lo necesitan, no, lo quieren y lo necesitan, pero no querían comprometer todos estos envíos, querían hacerlo de la mejor manera para poder recibir la cooperación, los servicios donativos de parte de toda la comunidad. Entonces, si está aquí Sadhu Maharaj, sería muy bueno que él tomase un poquito la palabra y hace acerca de esto. Sadhu Maharaj está por ahí. ¿Escuchaste la...?
Exactamente como me acabas de explicar, debido al lockdown aquí hay mucha complicación a nivel de oficina, ha sido lento el proceso, entonces lo que trataba de decir es correcto, cuestión de que esperen un poquito, que exista un mecanismo más seguro, que
Entonces por ahora el proceso del samadhi va a tomar unos meses, entonces pueden ir guardando de poquito en poquito sin comerse el dinero para que ya luego entonces se pueda proceder a la segunda parte del samadhi, ¿no? La segunda parte del proceso del samadhi, que va a ser la construcción formal de todo.
Por favor, apaguen los micrófonos. Sadhu Maharaj, si puedes apagar los micrófonos ahorita, Sadhu Maharaj, apagan los micrófonos para que escuchemos.
Sí. Sí.
En relación con el tiempo de espera antes de empezar a construir el samadhi, ¿hay un tiempo previsto para eso?
Bueno, se ha hablado de un mínimo de 6 meses, también se ha hablado de 8 meses o por lo menos un año. Pero yo creo que considerando con la situación actual y mundial y lo que aquí sucede, también sabiendo que India está ahorita en un pico de pandemia bastante alto, puede ser el año, a partir de ahorita que se terminó todo de mayo, ¿no? Entonces va a haber tiempo para organizarse en todo esto de la colecta. Y por supuesto también cubrir las prioridades que hay ahorita, que hay otro tipo de prioridades bastante urgentes, entonces se pueden cubrir las dos cosas en este espacio de tiempo.
Sadhu Maharaj is saying, and Ashram Maharaj is answering the question of Gadadhar Prabhu of Mexico about the continuation of the Samadhi of Srila Acharya Maharaj. First, Ashram Maharaj was saying, with the Samadhi, normally there's a period of several months where the Samadhi is not disturbed, and at that time there's no construction, but then after that, construction can take place. And Sadhu Maharaj is also speaking about some of the difficulties in doing things right now because of the need for organization and getting the funds so that they can receive funds in India. But he's saying that also they have many others. So in other words, we will be contributing to the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Acharya Maharaj, and I suggest that maybe in different countries, like since there's before there's difficulty in transferring funds, they charge for that. So maybe persons in Mexico, they can organize a central fund with Ashram Maharaj, and then funds can be transferred from there. And in different countries, because perhaps they can coordinate the efforts, like in Colombia, to have a central fund from Colombia before sending the money to India. And I did not understand everything that Sadhu Maharaj was saying. He was saying there's also other economic realities to deal with, and he said that things are a little slowed down because of the pandemic situation in India and the lockdown. So that's basically what I understood. But of course, Gadadhar is expressing the desire of all the devotees to be able to contribute to the samadhi and have the construction of the samadhi take place. So he's asking what plans will be going on for that. And I personally don't know of all the situation, what is necessary in Eka Chakra to be able to start the samadhi. Ashram Mars, do you know it? Did Son of Mars, did he speak about
he said 6 months. Él dijo 6 meses. He said 6 months. He said 8 months, or according to the present condition, it may be 1 year. I hope works can start in 6 months, which is regularly the time we heard from the time it was waited but for the Samadhi Mandir construction, Samadhi Mandir of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, union in separation. And I think with Srila Govinda Maharaj also, it came to that point to give approximately 6 months after his Samadhi. Then the Samadhi Mandir started being constructed. But he is also mentioning something about the present problems, which were not at that time, of course, of the pandemic problems. And I don't know if that will in any way interfere the working, the construction, or the sending of the money or something.
I think we should also find out if there's a way of...
Now, this idea that you mentioned, I thought it is very good. Locally, in every country, it should be kept an account, because Sadhu Maharaj also was saying, try to, during all this time that we are waiting, we will be waiting all this time, please try to make some arrangement, to make some savings. Do not eat all your money. Make some savings. But that can happen, especially if there are algunos imprevistos, algunas cosas que no se tienen considerados. Entonces alguien podría juntar dinerito pero luego gastarlo. Entonces esa idea that idea you gave locally in every country to make one account to make the rise of funds for the Samadhi Mandir, that will be very good. So that when the time comes for such an enterprise, for such a building of the Samadhi Mandir, then the funds can be ready, safe, and can be transferred to the Indian account.
And I think he also said they also have other economic needs that we can still also contribute to India.
Yes, he was saying that right now they are working in that, to have some account where internationally the devotees can support the mission there, as it was going on at the time of Srila Acharya Maharaj activities. And because those are very needful at present. And they are like very urgent, You may say their monthly payments, their monthly expenses, everything which is necessary to run the mission there. A little more urgent than right now to think about the later more project of the Samadhi Mandir construction of the Samadhi Mandir. Then yes, he was saying that there are some relevant and urgent needs, and they are trying to work out as fast as possible to make accessible for the Western devotees to send the money. Now, because of Srila Acharya Maharaj's departure, some of the accounts, maybe they need to be, to find out how they are going to work, because now there is no the signature of Srila Acharya Maharaj. Once they resolve this according with their own bank, then naturally they can proceed. In regards to the account, so many devotees also were sending money. Mexico was doing that through the Western Union, via Western Union or some other agencies where you can transfer money, but to persons, whether to Sudevi or Sadhu Maharaj or Kamalendu, like that. We were doing that at the time of Sri Acharya Maharaj.
Okay, I also wanted to say that some money was being transferred by Western Union because there was some difficulty that maybe some of the accounts, because of Acharya Maharaj's departure then, or passing away, that some of the accounts couldn't be active because his signature or whatever. So some funds were being sent for emergency through Western Union. But I would say in general in India, it's good to have the accounts going through the central banking that they do. They have their own bank account because in India they want to see they want to see that the society is doing things properly through the foreign accounts, and they want to have some record. So it's good to, as I said, to make in each country some central account, and then the money can be transferred by the banks. I think they charge some money for that. I don't know, $45, $50 sometimes. So it's good to send some amount, decent amount, through the banking system. Estaba diciendo que algunos de las cuentas pueden estar temporalmente afectados, entonces, pero en la India ellos quieren que las sociedades reciban dinero que está, digamos, registrado o algo así, y es bueno enviar los fondos a través de una cuenta bancaria a la India. Eso puede estar hecho por una cuenta central, como de México, de Colombia, un fondo creado para enviar fondos a la sociedad registrada ahí de Acharya Maharaj. So anyway, we had the Gadadhar. Is Gadadhar still there?
Sí, aquí estamos, Maharaj.
¿Entendiste la respuesta?
Sí, muy clara, Maharaj. Muchas gracias.
So this is a good question, because this is on the minds of many devotees of how we can contribute and participate in the construction of the Samadhi Mandir of Acharya Maharaj. Anyway, I was happy to see that, like with Srila Govinda Maharaj. Now they made so quickly that nice, temporary, what we call chitai hut, a bamboo hut there for the samadhi and everything. What you're seeing is the walls are made from bamboo that's been